said he checked. That's a, yes. That would be quite a kick in the teeth.
Yeah. There's only one wild card that I can think of.
Got there, met with those guys. It's only a week or two. I thought there's the 7 steps. If you like to do 7 steps, well, that's it.
Hi, how are you?
How are you?
Good, thank you. And went by fast.
Even with all the rain, and the upcoming rain.
It's supposed to be a lot better, right?
You know what though? I'm not in Louisiana, that's all I care about. I feel so
I'm
bad.
supposed to be in, I mean, that's the same, I feel terrible, I'm supposed to be in New Orleans next week with,
I'm telling you, they really hit hard
No,
over
no,
there.
it's unfortunate, yeah.
There's nothing.
I can't believe Katrina was 16 years ago.
For real, same date too, right? It was the same time.
Yeah,
Oh, it's crazy.
16 years ago.
Yeah.
My neighbor told me that they saw this morning, and I didn't see it, that Belmar said they were gonna get 7 inches of rain.
Wow.
To me, this whole
That's a lot more. I've seen it
Yeah.
like 2 to 3.
I saw like 2 to 4, yeah. 7 inches of rain.
7
that's-
inches.
yeah. I'm with the engineer.
Okay, just
personally,
what I
he saw
reported.
7 inches of rain, that's not, you know.
Good, having fun yet?
That's what it has to be.
7 inches.
Some days are like that.
It's supposed to be out of here by around noon time.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's, it's quick, so that's the only thing that helps. A lot of rain can come down.
Well, it's the same bid package. It's, so what Kim said?
She did, she couldn't get back to me, I guess. Texted me this morning.
What they're doing in New Orleans?
I wish Andy could sell me some shirts.
She doesn't have it.
Yes. No, yesterday. Or even the day before.
I told my daughter she should go down there to celebrate. She was just over the hump and is the
Okay.
That happened.
Don't say that. We'll let that now.
A lot of times we won't call it straight or close to the contractor, right? Some of the people at the
Allocation was
if you look at like the names of them there, like,
So.
yeah, even that, so that's like 100,000.
I think it's been a while since we've done one of these. When I was checking in 2015 to see when I did the last one. So when you have a open space grant that you're applying for, you're supposed to have a public hearing before
I don't know what they're
Figured
doing.
it's a workshop or
I was
whatever.
looking at that, and I was watching it on the news. I mean, the whole electric infrastructure.
It's gonna go good.
All those, nothing was missed.
No, it's just kind of cool when, you know, I wrote it. It's kind of cool to see it in print.
Quality.
Yeah, no, it's like a big puzzle.
I
said 10:03. And then I called her, she's like, well, it's great, because I'm like, it has to be one of those. I called the active. Look at your text.
Charleston.
You probably put, let me, I'm not even gonna.
I had a drive there.
Yeah. Drive?
The hurricane was between here and Charleston, and we were supposed to leave, and they didn't have flight for 3 days. But the fear of the other smart.
Okay.
So I had to just get in the drive.
No, nice. You drove to North
I say, you're putting your all into your job.
And then I called, you want to borrow.
So bad, I just stayed up all night first night. That was nice. We were on the way back, the van just stops, and then we'll be.
We're reporting.
Yeah, it was nice to have 2 extra days.
Is that for like Carroll's?
Maybe in my office.
I don't know if it's for Lake Carroll's. It is for Lake Carroll's?
We have in the season.
Tomorrow morning.
All you can do is wait.
It's a big open space.
Yeah, so we're trying to spruce it up.
Okay, so you're up.
I mean, my 4-year-old grandson, he went there a few weeks ago, we seen them, in Newark. And we had him couple of weeks ago for about 5 or 6 days. We drove past and he goes, oh, I know that park. Hey,
Bill.
How
we doing, Rich?
This one, I don't want this part.
Yeah. Listen, that's the best feedback you can get, right?
I go, so check, I mean, there's nothing there really.
I move. Thank you.
Wherever it's gonna be. Those go parallel.
Pretty soon you're gonna need parks with, pop-up screens coming up, so.
Send it down to the mayor's. So I'll share with them some of
In a way, that's good. I don't have to walk out back.
No, I agree with that.
I can just go on the front and tap on the window. That's funny. Mute.
Yeah, exactly. I don't have to shut the radio off on this phone. It's like, do you have to shut the radio off on the mic?
I know he's coming in.
Oh my gosh. Wait, how do you do it? It's like a button.
Turn it off.
I don't know why. I'm like on iPhone. It's terrible. I can't.
I have an Android, what can I tell you?
Good job, Greg.
Kim is,
Good stuff.
I'm trying to have her boyfriend moving with her for a while. And then he moved out. And now he wants to pay for it.
okay. Did he answer or not?
You take my vote, I take your job.
Bill always says he's,
A goat with turkey, yeah. I do. And Middletown. I can do that.
It's the goat's name.
I'll eat.
My next door neighbor has chickens, 4 of them.
I think it's Jefferson and Melrose, Ames, maybe.
Yeah, they do.
I had chickens.
Oh gosh, no. They're loud. Yeah, 5:30 in the morning, yeah. The chickens are great. They talk to you. They're very curious.
I'll just do the Spanish chicken. Good start. Call to order. Let's do a pledge of allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I wish to announce the 48-hour notice as required under the Open Public Meetings Act was emailed to the Asbury Park Press, the Co-Star, and the New Coaster on December the 10th of 2020. That a copy has been placed on the bulletin board in the borough office, and that a copy has been filed with the borough clerk. Mr. Bunnell?
Here.
Mr. Gubatose?
Here.
Mr. Sexsmith?
Here.
Mr. Weber? Absent. Mayor Fox?
Here. Okay, the first part of this meeting, there's actually 2 meetings tonight. The first part is an open space public hearing meeting. We've got the opportunity to apply for an open space grant. We've targeted one of our parks, our Lake Terrace Avenue Park. That north part of town has been looking a little peaked, so we're trying to spruce it up a bit. For anybody who hasn't been on Lake Terrace in the last little bit, you can see that our DPW department's done a great job. One, putting cement slabs under park benches on Fletcher Lake similar to what we have in Sylvan Lake. And then two, the sidewalk right on the street where the park is on Lake Terrace was in pretty bad disrepair, and I think by Friday or Saturday will be complete redo of the sidewalk. So, you know, we're taking good steps to try to really improve the look on that side of town, number one. And two, it's a county road, so a lot of traffic goes through there, and it's some of the first impression people get of town. So we're going to be very pleased, I think, if we can get this grant approved and continue the improvements in that area. So with that, Sam Avakian of Avakian and Company is going to give us a quick overview of what's being proposed and how we're going to proceed. So take it away, Sam.
Thank you. Mayor Fox hit most of the points, but what we'll do is just jump through. We're doing a citizen participation meeting for the open space grant. As he had stated, what we will be doing is Lake Terrace on the north side currently has two pieces of equipment set up right now, one of which is just a playground slide and little jungle gym, one of which is a swing that is in need of repair. Well, our idea is to do an inclusive playground for handicapped and handy-eligible children. The idea would be to utilize the eastern portion of the park that's currently not utilized and redo the swing set and with a rubberized play surface. It's a material that's a little more accessible. Talking over with the borough, some of the ideas that we had are what's called a sensory dome. It allows all different types of children, inclusive and all, to utilize. Underneath these domes and everything will be the rubberized play surface. This will be the new set of equipment. And where the old swing set would be, we are proposing to do a 4-child swing set, 2 of which will be the inclusive swing sets that can also be used for infants and any children as well as the handicap, and 2 regular belt swings, so any age children can be used. So really what we're here today is just to make sure that the residents know what we're doing, and if anyone had any feedback or comments, input, anything as such.
Just a point, Sam, on the fencing too. We were talking about the fence too, against the...
Yeah, so the fencing and shrubbery will go into the application itself. Yeah, but so that's... It's easy going at that comments. Yeah. All right.
So how does this type of grant work?
So we've done a bunch
we
of
have
them.
to do matching?
Yes, so the open space is a matching grant. The estimate right now is about 110, so that'd be like 55 roughly for the borough. It's really pretty straightforward. After today, you guys will pass a resolution hopefully granting the acceptance of us going out to go for the bid open space grant. And we'll put together the application, finalize it. It's already pretty much there. They go through their application process themselves, look at it. Stuff like this, anything ADA, anything inclusive, anything that's really part of the parks, anything like that is really a big jump for any municipality. And then, that'll be it.
What's the anticipated timing on this?
So they pretty much, you got a couple months into September when the application's due itself. They take about 90 days to review. And then after that, they give you, I believe, 2 years to execute, go out to award a project to execute.
So we would get a response from them probably by the end of the year?
Yeah, it's fairly certain, yes.
Okay.
There's none of the budget in 22.
Right.
Right, yeah, it doesn't need to know. That's right.
Sam, can you give us a rough breakdown of that 110? How much is fencing?
Sure.
Versus other?
Yeah, so I'll move this if you don't mind, so you can see. Right, so everyone can see. The sensory domes, these guys themselves, and the equipment really isn't so much. This in itself will probably be like $30,000 constructed. Now those are numbers, like right now logistically, everything's kind of up in the air, so that's from the website, so we can quote the website, but I don't know if they'll let you know. The more expensive portion of the project is the rubberized play surface. The rubberized play surface really is what's going in most every park now. It's more efficient than the mulch, sand, wood chips, you know, stuff like that. It's easier for any handicapped person, whether it be a cane or rollator or wheelchair, to get over it. So that is also a part of the project, because we'll be adding more of a path to the new location. And that's really where the biggest chunk of your payment will come in, about $50,000. And that's to do the all.
How many square feet?
I don't have that off the top of my head right now. Yeah, but it's the old surface, that's the swings, and then the new sensory dome and the playground.
Will it be the whole kind of eastern half of that park?
Not the whole, no. So currently, I'll flip back to this guy and I can see where that's at. So currently, these two pieces are in use right now. This is the swing set. This is what I'm calling just the playground. It's the slide and the little gymnasium. So we will be utilizing this guy as the swing set still. We'll put up a new swing set with the 2 inclusive and the 2 regular belts. This is going to stay. That's the playground. And this is where it'll be. It's a 28 by 28. So that right there is like 600 square feet. Or 900 square for the sensory dome. Sorry, no, yeah. All right, so yeah, we're gonna try to not touch anything of the western side of the park.
Why did you choose the western side to stay away from?
Just because that has the soccer courts, you know, soccer fields. There's a little bit more of an open space. Really, there's not too much. The area that you have right here is you have like a little picnic table, a couple park benches, and then you have like probably 40 to 50 feet of this open space.
Okay, you know what?
Yeah.
I'm looking at it
Sure.
the other
I got
way.
you, yeah. Yeah, so over there there's just a lot of space. I didn't want to touch
that's a nice
that.
place for people to run around.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, the visual is backwards,
Yeah, north,
Have we considered, and would it be eligible for the grant, any other landscaping, trees? bushes?
Yeah, so I'm sorry I didn't talk about that right now, but yeah, it was discussed previously that the back portion of where the fence is, I believe it's a little run down the chain link area, so we could do either shrubbery, we could redo that fence if you guys would like, we could do a buffer. Stuff like that really is important. What we'll do for the grant itself is put in like a lump sum of what we think it might be, and then if we get the grant, you know, mayor and council can then decide on what you would prefer.
Yeah, right now that fence is not a great visual.
Sure.
It's choppy and parts of
But would this be including a replacement of the existing fencing, or?
No. So the number that I have to get that 110 would just be like shrubbery, but we could always do that, you know. So even after tonight, like that's why we're doing it, you know what I mean? So even after tonight, you guys say, hey, I want to, you know, do new fencing with the, I forget what they call the fabric as a buffer. If you wanted to get away from landscaping, you could, it's not a problem.
The open spaces grant matches up to how much?
$200,000.
Up to 200?
Yes.
That they would actually match,
So you can do $400,000, yes, yep.
Okay, so if, and again, I don't know what the cost would be,
Sure.
but if we wanted to evaluate, replace fencing.
That wouldn't be a problem. I can give you a number earlier this week. You know.
My last question.
Sure.
I know the existing equipment is what I call for toddlers, it seems like 5 and under.
Yeah.
And the new equipment, I know you said at least 2 of the swings would be ones, the G swings that you
Yeah, the zero G. Yeah. So those look like now they say that they're for the ages of 2 to 12 they adjust. It's almost like a like if you go on like a ride, you know, an amusement park ride, that they come down. So you could actually still put a toddler in here. Not an infant. You know, it's not like the little guy, but a toddler in there up until a certain age. We picked 4 just because of the traffic to the park. But that could also always be adjusted. You could go up to, you know, really whatever you want. They keep doing additions to more swings if desired.
With the dome, I just want to make sure it's kind of all age appropriate.
Appropriate? Yeah, sure.
Is that the smaller dome? Or?
This is the medium dome. So they have like a real big dome. They have a really small dome, and the one that looked like it would fit in the park the best. Like I said, like 28 by 28. Like that's a good size for sure. But I think anyone would be able to utilize it. A child up to younger.
I mean, with these, I'm not familiar with the equipment, but
Sure.
do they give age appropriate levels, like for the?
So the sensory dome they didn't. I do know for the 0G, it was, I believe it was 3 to 12 or 2 to 12. The dome, the sensory dome, I would assume. I don't have young children that, but I would assume like if you look, it's just a little gymnasium, so you can just run around. So I would think.
Well, I know there's a small, medium, large, and again,
Yes.
because I know that there are small children that have to go to that playground, they can't, the small children can't really use the playground at the beach because that equipment's
Too big. I mean, again, even with this, we could always go to the small one.
Well, that's my only question,
Sure,
is what's
yeah.
the most appropriate?
Yeah, no, it is. I mean, if you guys, that's also something like when we go to the application, they don't look too hard into that. What I'm doing is saying, hey, this is the equipment that we're thinking about. So downsizing is always easier than upsizing, you know? So that's something that, if desired, that's not a problem.
Sam, what happened with the one that's currently there?
So the swing set's gonna be taken down. It'll be replaced with a new swing set, and the slide and gymnasium, that one's gonna stay, and we're gonna put the surface under there.
Mayor, that swing set was donated by a lady across the street. I think it's called Pete's Playground. I think she donated it. I don't know if you've spoken to her, but.
We could also keep something like that going, like a placard. Yeah, of course.
No, but we better, yeah.
Yeah, and that's, yeah,
To
no,
last,
that's a nice idea, sure.
It's a full population.
Yeah.
That's a good point. Yes.
I guess, Sam, one other question,
Yes, sir.
is there any, I don't know, spacing, if we could fit 6 swings instead of 4, could we?
Sure, yeah, so, I wasn't trying to go too crazy with the budget, I was trying to hold it, but if you guys wanna go 6, you could go to, 8, whatever you'd like, but yeah, 6 wouldn't be a problem. I know that they do have the infant swings, the ones that have the little, they're actually here. We were not proposing those, but if it is more geared to, infants and smaller children, we could do a 6 with a 2-2-2, we could do whatever layout you guys would prefer. But again, that's something, if we go out, we could tweak a little bit, it wouldn't be a problem. That's cool.
It's good.
So you're keeping the equipment that's there other than the swings?
Yes, sir, yes. And then adding it.
Yeah, does anybody in the public have any questions, comments? Yes.
Okay, it's Destin, 600 Third Avenue. This grant is being spoken of strictly with regards to the playground equipment, is that right?
The equipment, the landscaper, yes.
Okay, it is landscaping and appearance and whatever other things need to be attended to going to need to be highlighted, or is it just gonna be, well, we might look at that?
No, so the landscaping will definitely be in there. The idea was more so to buffer, the back fence. Yeah, so this portion really just to put buffering, it's really not in the best shape right now, so that's what that was. It wasn't really the highlight, but we weren't creating anything too over the top, we were just really just buffer the back neighbors.
I haven't been there in a while, but I do remember visiting it just to see what was there.
Yeah.
And I thought, gee, it's a precious little piece of property.
No, it's great.
And just as far as the town is concerned, the pride thing, and feel good, that gee, if it was picked up a little bit,
No, that's what we're going
wouldn't
for.
take too much, because I think it would add a lot to the park.
For sure. Yeah. And that's also something we can take into consideration, with landscaping, that's the idea.
Yeah, and actually, we actually done more landscaping there this year than past years, the current landscaping, which has really improved the look of the park, but I think this will really kind of kick into the next year. That plus sidewalks being redone, and there's a renewed effort to get the Fletcher Lake group really cooking now, because Neptune's re-engaging, so I think we got a lot of opportunities on the north side of town right now, which is a good thing.
Great.
What else?
Would you like to hold on this guy, or want to take it back?
Yeah.
Leave it. Cool.
All right, if that's, we'll close the public meeting at this point. I guess we need to vote as to whether we want to proceed or not.
Do we do that in
The
the council meeting?
resolution is on the.
The resolution, okay,
Yeah, mhm.
okay, we'll wait till then.
Sure.
Folks will stick around.
Cool. And Randy, if you'd like, I can email, or everybody, I don't know, that works.
Yeah,
as
that
it
works.
PDF, whatever.
Yeah.
Okay. Thanks, Sam, appreciate it.
Sam, if you could email that to me too.
Of course, I'll send that,
Thank
yeah.
you.
no problem.
Thank you, Sam.
Yep.
Okay. 6:20. We've got 40 minutes of bliss until 7 o'clock. I'll make a motion to close this is a hearing.
Public hearing.
Public hearing, thanks.
Second.
All in
Third.
favor?
Aye.
Aye. Mr. Weber abstains.
whoever abstains.
All right, everybody, thank you.
Thanks, Sam.
Thank you.
Thanks, Sam.
Go on, man.
Well, they finally got the clock on the bank.
You ready?
No, it was, I had stopped.
She goes over here, she's going, "Oh,
And
please."
he said that they were afraid it was gonna fall because it was so.
I'm gonna put there and here.
And it was too expensive to fix. Since it was all rusted on the inside.
Oh, boy. Oh, boy, you're in line. Hold on, I'm gonna get, Morrison, the finance.
Just the one, Kim had, put in emails, the right emails, which I did request.
What about, you wanna use that back one?
Waiting for her to get me
Here?
emails.
Wanna use that?
She wants them.
Erica can open it. Erica, can you open the chambers for, Randy? Thank you. Oh, two? You're fine, go ahead.
He was out. Which one? Seaside.
I got it.
Oh, I did see that. There's some beautiful buildings built back then.
You have a minute for the chairman?
Sure. Gorgeous.
Wow, I didn't know that.
Yeah. It's a wonder that the wind doesn't blow them over.
Describe the situation to the
I don't
mayor.
know how they make them like that without the wind affecting.
Megan Davis congregation.
Yeah,
Megan
yeah.
Davis congregation, Fifth and
Yes, yes.
on
Yeah.
Fifth Avenue. Say 120 feet from the curb. They have about a 14-15-foot apron, so to say. It goes upstairs. You know,
Okay.
so that
I kinda know what you're
Okay.
talking about, yeah.
Now, we're having issues with some of the people that.
Well, hopefully I'll go back in January.
And looking at people
Yeah.
they're driving stuff because people are parking over there, parking at the
The
driveway.
villages.
So what I was proposing, and I mentioned to the chief,
Yeah.
how about if we paint that little apron?
Yes,
Now
they
nobody
don't
can
stop
park.
building
Right,
either.
because now we put a sign, you know, and stuff like that. And he said, yes, it would not go through me, it's gotta go through the mayor because it's not a residence.
The chief hit me on this a couple of weeks ago, I forgot all about it, I'm glad you mentioned this, that one of the elders, and I have his name written in my notes somewhere.
Seth.
Yeah. Asked for a parking space for the son. So I said, oh, God, give us a parking space for the son. Yeah, that's good.
Put it this way, they already, the curb is already depressed. Hey, G, can you come over here for a second?
His favorite top curve. Join us.
Depressed curb over there at on Fifth Avenue.
There's an apron in front of the temple, people parking in front of it, people use it as a ramp to get into it. So it's the synagogue, there's an apron, it's a tree, and she used it to access the building, people were around, to actually get up on the curb. And
Well, you see what's going on.
That's
Let's
what's out here, that's a better question. for
Well, this is where.
Fifth Avenue, Mayor?
It's by the beach. Yeah.
Right on the beach.
I know where it is, I just wasn't sure which city you were talking
It's
You
on
know
about.
what I wanted to bring up here, but I
It's
don't
right
know.
on Fifth. It's not on Ocean, it's on Fifth.
They did it in Ocean Grove.
Yeah, just give
A
me the
lot
credit on that.
of, lot of the poles have
I think you
wiring
just paint it. I
that
don't think we need an ordinance or
Why don't we
anything.
just do it?
wrapped
Yeah,
around.
just paint it.
hanging.
Because you're not supposed to park in front of the apron.
I don't
No,
know.
that's tomorrow.
Some of it looks.
The curb will be red.
Well, put it this way,
I don't know
it's
why
a Phil
it
Kavanaugh
became like
screw
that.
up.
Cable company.
Yeah, they put the curb cut, it's still curb cuts, they shouldn't be parking on it, even if it goes to nowhere, or just show grass.
Everybody else is abandoned.
It goes to, what does it go,
It's
it's
really
grass?
bad places.
We
It just goes right to the
sidewalk, rows of wire.
What's, the buildings right there, or?
Yeah.
It's probably where the step is, so it's probably a curb cut.
And the stairs.
They did in Ocean Grove, there was an
That's an
article in the
accessibility
Coaster
issue.
a couple of weeks ago that they called, I think Optimum was over there or something, and they did take down the
Put on your
wire,
list.
you know?
Not on list, everything else.
There was a
As a
yellow,
matter of fact,
thing in
she
front
was
of
the one that brought it
theater
up.
for years.
Remember a couple of years ago, we were talking about the wiring and the poles?
There were instances
You know?
where they needed to get the ambulance. There was an issue in there where people were
Think
having.
they would do anything about it?
whether it was,
And, I was just telling these guys, a couple of articles in the Coaster over in Ocean
a
Grove,
lot
they
of
did
people
do something
gathering in
about
here,
it.
to sit in here,
you know.
things can happen, so when it comes.
I don't know, sometimes I feel
You know,
that
we
they
get
think
a,
it's trivial,
radio,
you
whatever
know.
we need, and we go right in and right out. That's why it was painted yellow.
Except it's painted white and yellow.
Yeah, I know.
And the reason was, so I asked the town auditor,
They were,
said, State Road, said this is designated to be a
Yes.
parking space, it came right out.
I saw it down.
So it's one more parking space painted over for now.
Put it this
Nobody
way,
uses the building.
right, exactly, nobody's using it, so it shouldn't be, but if it's gonna be a movie
it's the
theater,
neighborhood,
some
I was living in
have a lot
Tenafly,
of people
where you had a
gathering.
large
Probably
population, that, you know, of course,
Well,
in
yeah,
Jersey.
that'll be your job,
There was an ongoing litigation.
But we have you, Phil.
For 10 years.
Don't forget it.
Is-
Oh, no, what about the
Notify-
6 week in a row,
notify the
this is the week
Orthodox
that
but
I
it's
heard
a wire
from them last week. This is
that
the,
you put around
this
a
week.
community.
So it's Wednesday,
which
Tuesday, let's see
supposedly
this is the
now
week.
allows
So I haven't heard that for a long
more
All right, that's why when I said, I said, that's good, okay, let me know, let me know.
Sort of.
But they said,
Interesting market,
You know, an outside they
Is it better to open
we can't leave the
a
house.
movie theater
Friday night.
in the
Saturday.
summertime?
It's part of
Yeah.
religion.
Or the
So
winter
they
time?
wanted it, it's a, and.
This
other
year.
towns
You're local
tried to
business
fight
owner.
it.
Like, there's more people here in the summertime, but they're more apt to be outside, not in the movies.
You know, I can tell you, I've
Spring,
read in,
summer?
It depends on the movie.
it depends on the movie, it depends on the weather. I will tell you that,
Within those communities.
that there's some things that are counterintuitive.
Some people
In the
say,
spring and
that's-
fall, if it
that doesn't make any
rains, I could shut my business down and it wouldn't matter. In the summer, if it rains, I need help.
Right, yeah, that's what I mean, like, it's interesting about the question there.
Well, we just, like Terrence,
we do a lot of volume in the middle of the winter.
That's,
It's
I
a good
mean,
movie.
You would think, yeah.
No, we do, we do. I've gone in there like a Tuesday and say it's gonna be empty, you walk in and it's 3/4 full. They're pouring ice. I'm like, that's terrorist. But people come, they like that theater, people come from 2 towns around.
And
I'll
because.
tell you what, if they reopen it, I'll be coming down here, because I hate the parking multi-bucks in the field, when it's so crowded, you can't get tickets. And everything else closed, the one, we used to have a bow tie in Avenue, right down the street from my house, and that's where I went. Since I watched Cinderella with my grandma when I was 5, and then it closed, now alternate ending brewery.
You don't have.
But, yeah, so we've been constrained to Freehold.
Oh, no, but it's.
But it's a pain in the ass to try to get tickets down there.
you finally getting some work done on
See,
Newark
he
Avenue,
did,
huh?
he did a little wrong with what he did.
I
What's that?
thought they were supposed to
He
make
did
some
it wrong when
improvements.
So they did.
he walked in there, he was trying to do a
Yeah, that's part of
multi-class
what
type
this
of a
is.
thing.
It's, you know,
oh, the guy from the show.
Yeah.
Newark. You know, I don't know, sometimes
It's been a little difficult.
Well, you know what that means, you can get the sewer.
But apparently they got final contracts.
It's not even their way, it's
So they say.
Well, it's becoming more and more clear that the government isn't going to shut, like, the government doesn't have the
we
ability
had
to shut anything down.
because I'm in the first block in Newark. and
No one's gonna accept the schools closed again
And then
another
they
year.
tried to put this
And no
right
one
in
is
and
going,
then-
they're letting unemployment go down.
The park.
Yeah, Murphy said that today.
Because it's a real staff problem.
I like this
How are you, how are you doing?
I just think it.
I'm looking at the staff.
Well,
Well, it's me and Sue, but that's by design anyway, we're not big enough. Nobody gets paid till I get paid.
Fair enough.
Maybe you should have.
Yeah, Shaq and Newton this afternoon about
When I was in there, about t-shirts, because I
And so,
what I'm doing is I'm
the
pre-planning.
beverage is about changing, you have to forgive me, because I kind of lost the thread on that.
1,500 t-shirts, and same thing with backpacks. Well, I'm not doing backpacks this year, I'm going to be doing, what you call sweatpants. For the kids. And, he already told me, stay away from colors, stay away from, sports gray.
Really?
No supply. So I told him, I said,
Sort of want your opinion to look at it to see if, A, you think that's right.
I'm just gonna go white.
Changing the ordinance.
Can't go wrong.
Why are there so many people eligible?
What are my gymnastics?
Yeah, yeah.
Because I think it winds up being, it's just based off of points, and so you get somebody who's a trustee,
So look,
because
is it
all the
okay?
meetings, they wind up getting enough points. Whether or not they-
Yes, yes.
Now
Don't you get points for years of service?
safe sport.
I have to look at it.
All right, I'll
I
take a look at
really
it.
don't remember, but.
It's gonna be tough though to change
I
that. With the problems,
I just got an email from my national office. Where they came out and said,
But that would be changing.
you have to do this course by November 1st.
Really?
And you have to do this course by January 1st.
Wow. Interesting. Hey,
Well, it's, no, I think it would be.
I did. We're following up on it.
50 grand instead of 70.
How many trustees do they?
And I talked to Kim and, they're, actually, I'm gonna ask her, I'll ask her.
I don't want to bring it up, I'm not bringing it up.
Yeah, but no, we're gonna, we need, because they said
I don't fully understand. I don't even claim to.
they had to plan in like
There's no
10
way that's
days.
not.
But why isn't
But that's good. Why have Jack's?
So, but here's my issue, why isn't code enforcement and construction?
Yeah.
That's my
Well,
big
that's.
issue.
All right, I'll ask my allocation.
That, between the cost expiring again and all this.
I'll take a look at it. I'll figure it out. That doesn't, I'm
God
gonna.
forbid somebody
I
gets
tried to email.
Yeah, oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, no, that was-
That's
that was
what I'm
bad.
more concerned about, but I'm also now very disappointed that where is the town
That's very well
overseeing this?
Yeah.
It's amazing, because I walk every day.
No,
Love that.
that's, we will get back, maybe even tonight.
If all they're doing is counting it wrong, and they tweak their bylaws to change the
Like I
definitions
just
of what those, firefighters
They
and
lied.
whatever else it
They told me it was gonna be an hour.
maybe it's fine.
We just went half
Well, it's either a
hours.
matter, I mean, the only way that people could.
Whose question is that?
It's a matter of, you know, things being entitled to being in the bylaws, or the
Well,
kind
now,
of points wrong, which is better stuff that's not.
Something new that I didn't even know.
Or they have way more meetings than the fire department meetings.
The photographer, videographer that I normally have takes
Yeah, that should be.
pictures. And I do announce, you know,
Well, then that would be a bylaw.
who wants to
The
have,
officers of the
you know,
organization, that's it.
not to have the board's picture taken,
But
those
if it's,
forms, fill it out.
Right.
You know, and you're opting out, you take pictures of your kid.
Really?
You know, at a competition, yeah. Because a lot of times what they do is they take that, or they'll take a video, and they'll send it to colleges.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, because it's a state
Oh, yeah.
competition, stuff like that. So, I just found out, he has to take the courses.
Deadline now.
Ah,
And he has to become a USA Gymnastics member.
So,
Interesting.
if
well, it's probably good right
the
now, because you need,
passes,
the pendulum's gotta swing that way for a while.
do we
Oh,
overpay
yeah.
out this
Just
year?
for a while.
Or is that next year that we start paying?
Next year. So, we have time to figure out the problem.
just gotta get
It's
this.
not necessarily a change, it's probably the ordinance.
What I'm gonna do is, in fact,
I mean, I figured the ordinance was probably the one that played paper.
It's the state law.
That's what I mean.
Same thing, yeah.
That's what I mean, it's all.
the course that he has to pay is free. The membership.
But the point system isn't,
Well, it's,
like how you qualify for it is,
I'll put that down.
I'm pretty sure you have to tell the public what that is.
Your turn.
It's like everything else in town.
I've gotten very good. I'll see that. Yeah, is there another meeting or?
Council meeting.
Council meeting.
What do you mean? This is a special.
You were leaving?
Yeah, it was. Well, I gotta call my wife. I thought this was just a special. What's the agenda for that? I don't think I have an agenda for that. I gotta call my wife and tell her about
Great. To the top of the.
You were here. I would have thought it was gonna have a call. There's a lot of things you go to your registration. You don't see any for Zoom, cover if you ever go Zoom. It's going to take this good theory.
I think it will, because it's all transactions. It's almost not. We're not.
I can't really do much about it. They're probably gonna feel the same way we do. But everybody seeing you're 250. I think they really like to sweep that under the few meetings. I think the weather has said, there's about 3 meetings.
I was looking for it and see what I had to do. And then I feel like, oh, that must be just a hearing thing.
Well, let me ask you this, if you were shaking my hand.
Yeah, so I saw that. Yeah, so my wife was coming home for her dad's birthday.
I think they would like to forget it.
Then I gotta figure out why I'm not getting your, I don't know.
I sent you everything that I
I don't know, I have like a lot of emails, I kind of missed
So I'm
that.
thinking, okay, you know what, maybe it looks okay, it's not easy. Okay,
No, but I looked on Wednesday because I was away.
Yeah.
And I was checking at night, so I checked it on Wednesday to see if there was like something I could drag, like, hey, you need this, this, and this. And then Redback had some stuff, so I did it for Pam. And then, I was looking for yours, but I only had, the only agenda I had one thing on it, which was not. Yeah. So, alright, well, I'll miss it.
26,
I'll figure it out.
26, ordinance 26, I did by myself. I just looked
Alright, I
at.
just gotta go tell my wife she's on it. Oh, it's a great answer for it.
Oh, okay. Those are.
Good thing you're the shady hands, where you going?
That would not have flown through my mind.
We wouldn't know that.
Oh, yeah. Well, that's been going on for years.
No, you see, get that in turn.
We see it all the time. We're there all the time. You see, I mean, we went by the last time, the company that asked afterwards was that we walked up, what's today? Today is Tuesday, I would say like a week ago Tuesday. It was a long day, I see what they had every Tuesday night or something. So they walked up there and asked that to be gone. They just took a walk, so let's walk. And her words, we didn't hit anybody.
Thank you for my
I would say there were
reports.
a couple dozen people on it.
Told you, I'm sure.
Nobody's there.
Well, you know what? It's your money, you manage it. And the only thing is. No, just give this.
That works out really well. I think it looks better in the minutes, don't you?
Wrong.
I know, but instead of just putting, red reports of blah, 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 at least I don't know legal.
Well, I'm just saying, if we're gonna do this and boards are around, maybe we need to write a check. Then maybe people would say it's, right now, they know they can do it, there's nothing.
And I look the debts. Check it out. Nobody cares. You know what? I think it's coming. There was one day. Tina and I are starting to work. And we just doing some stuff. There's nothing on. So we decided we're going to guess. I have called. And it's usually, and we need 25
That's the thing,
minutes.
if you try to say something in the garage, you know, why do you want it, you know,
Because it's
get better reaction?
we don't want people
catching it. You know, it's
So
bicycle.
you're gonna put one on either side of all
They were
the.
just smoking, and you know,
Oh my God, there's a gentleman who sits close to Newark Avenue, sits on the bench, smoking a cigar.
Some plants on it, but around the hollies and make it pretty and then color.
I will say, a few years ago,
And do that. And choose me, I just suggested where the razor fence is.
with the aerodynamic units, the man and the woman. So you can do it with one friend and I almost got it. Right over with
I asked her, and she said, and then, you know,
I'll come to Marty because
It's like no,
we,
you
borough, working with.
know, if there's just no rules.
My uncle's living in, yeah, we had rules, that people are showing.
They don't
And
believe
what
they-
we found
yeah.
is that over the years, thought process and funding process.
Enforcement's always an issue.
Fletcher thing.
Enforcement is-
One of the things on the agenda today, my wife's volunteering, shade tree commission. So we did approve her, I guess.
But about some stuff,
One person votes no, she's off. Usually 5 more, she's released somewhere. With that, so she should commission, Larry was saying maybe I flip over. Fletcher. So I have both of them.
that's the majority. It is the majority.
So for that reason, I was thinking, you know,
You see, you got
more of a
living room
resolution,
furniture on the
more
porch.
This thing will go up and definitely get Sylvia, but whatever you do for Sylvia, that's leverage that.
You know, everybody does, you know, spend a lot.
Yeah, he
Use
said-
it. Why does somebody spend so much renovation?
Nothing's happening right now, the new tranche, they
It's
said,
always
we got some money from,
And it's like,
but all along, they were telling us we had the
But,
money.
you know, you do
And it was,
renovation.
if you DEP had approved, that was the hurdle. And they approved it, and now they
Long
don't
term,
do
you're
it.
thinking,
I'm like,
Give us a shift, we gotta keep fighting. I'm new to the fight, so you guys must be tired. I still come and tell me, oh, we got our trash. Doctor, thank you.
go fix your house.
It's like 25,000 a year for that.
Sir? I can't stay still.
Huh?
I can't stay still when I walk around. Right now, my road is not to go with my sister in the daughter's house. And I'm walking all the time.
So I was just reading my past emails.
Because they, I thought this was, that's the last time.
One day, I sat here for 3 hours.
You know, they wanted to do more than a half hour.
And a few times, I looked to see the tape. I didn't get that. Here's how I felt getting up.
just add to it, that all the stuff needs to be.
Erica, where's John?
I'm usually up moving around like I am now.
I'm not sure, I don't know. No.
Here's a good message. TJ put the washes on that one.
And then they told us it was.
About the rush on the message?
They gave us.
Well, with the horses. The horses.
We never followed through on it. Well, he could go away for the whole winter, so he wasn't around.
Yeah, I was gonna spread it up and down Main Street between 4th and 3rd.
I did.
That's what that email was, right here, where he was asking me to meet him and go over the areas and everything.
She was very surprised at what it's talking.
Next thing I know, nope.
The RC has to build a parking garage.
They have a strict time frame, they can't start like.
Well, once they publish it,
You see what they're looking like now.
Which was working like. And I got you for the employees.
No. Patrons.
I looked at, I got it, thanks.
Well, you putting up a truck in the parking lot.
Loving it.
In between, I looked at John's thing and
Because when you're talking. The RC
came out.
is one parking lot, so they have plenty of.
Yeah,
parking.
everything.
That's the worst thing that happens to you all day.
This is a one spot, like how it was before, like you had agenda, resolution, ordinance, blah, 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 like we all do not together. But I've been too, I've noticed other towns, because I check out other towns on my own, just to check it out, that use Civic Plus. And it almost looks like that's the standard format.
the one we have.
So,
We gotta get, we gotta get.
I think there's, yeah, she's playing around with it. But I also noticed too, like, you know, at the top where we have like, borough, I think if we put government.
How are you?
There's a lot of towns I noticed have government, and if you,
I know.
drop down. So it's like mayor, council, this, that.
Oh, of course, yeah. Phone messages, not so good, emails are yeah, that's great.
Ordinances, I don't know if you know, it's got the at the top.
Yes.
And it's got the picture.
Right now, we
And then it's got 8 links right under the picture. One of those 8 links is ordinances.
Yeah.
Anyway, I have had 10 people, including this guy right here, Brandon. Where are the ordinances? Like, you kidding me? There's like a total of like 12 links.
No offense between you and me, like people.
They're moving on it.
Right on there, like it's right under.
If that happens, so when you click on it, see people have to go to borough.
And then you'll get it.
But you should be able to click on meetings.
Once they get to that
You know the calendar?
That's what I mean, because we used to have, that's what I mean, the old, we
Right,
had that,
yeah, I agree.
meetings, and when you went on there, it had them all on there, but the
Oh,
first
yeah,
one,
no,
but the
no,
next
no,
one, or the
no,
upcoming
no,
one,
no.
was the
I
first one you
think
saw.
so, probably
So you
the
knew, okay,
November.
there's boards, you know, but you go on the past ones too, and
No,
there's all that.
I agree, we just have to, but I don't think it's so much
It's
easier.
It's like anything else, it's gonna take a while to tweak that, it's
Two more
new.
seconds. We have to get a report.
Oh, no, you're fine.
Erica, do you know
Yeah,
her?
we're not there yet.
I think, well, I've seen you, yes.
She's the head of the civil.
Silver Lake, which I still have a copy of the contract to give you from last year.
Oh, there you go. What do you got?
You sent me this, you wanted to talk about the bulkhead, about the winter fence that's there.
Yeah, yeah.
I just talked to G about
That's
it
right.
and said, I have an idea.
Okay.
And he said, talk to you about
That's
it.
right.
Hold on.
I know we're supposed to do it again twice.
Oh, no, I know.
Fence,
I know.
it's not gonna stay up much longer. I thought maybe,
Bushes. Holly trees.
honest to God,
Yeah.
and put like, get the big beach boulders.
Actually, the roots might actually help us, right?
They would, and if you put them right across, and if you do holly, it's prickly, kids won't go near it. The geese can get over it if they want to. And maybe like do a boulder here, a boulder there.
Well, no, that ground's still gonna give way.
Yeah, but if you do it up, you know, we can do it almost where the fence is now. There's about this much
Yeah, away from the wall.
away from the wall.
Yeah.
And
No, I
then
think
if
that makes sense.
the
Well, you can get up to
the garden
200,000
thing goes through.
and there we can.
And we can take those bushes and incorporate them in there,
Yeah.
so it wouldn't be a waste of money.
No, I like it. It looks nice, it looks better than the fencing.
Yes.
But Holly, I like, keeps the kids out of the
And Kathy and I went to the nursery, I told you, and they have some really nice, like printed colored ones.
Yeah, I'll let you know.
Anyway.
So it
Sam
won't all
sent
just
the
be green
updated-
bushes. We saw some yellow ones that it's a form of a holly. It might be a little bit more delicate. I'll check out all of that when we get there.
It's nice we keep people like you from slipping down those holes.
Yes.
I thought we were gonna lose one of them.
Yeah.
But I made my point, didn't I? Thanks, Al.
You're not dialing in tonight?
No, I'm here.
I had the phone, it was my job to connect you and hold it off. I almost disconnected you 2 or 3 times. Yes, I brought it with me. Highlighting it. But I started with the comments in the back.
Right, that's where I was.
Can I have one for my
I
notes?
framed it like these are not,
These ones are good.
death analysis. And you just fairly, fairly comprehensive. He was very minor question I wanted to ask you, because it's not in the report, and I told him that. It's a good thing. And then he said, but we didn't have, the problem with the reason we stopped was we didn't have controls. So we didn't have controls.
Yeah, sorry, be careful. I've been going to like, we're gonna do a trampoline act. How you been? Nice for playing.
So,
Magic, you know.
same, you know what I mean, so.
I had lots of TJ. One's going. Perfect.
Thank you.
Cash.
Thank you. But, so essentially, this is then we're.
He probably spent the money on buying this. I have had.
It's not a subpoena, is it?
No, it's a declaration of target report.
Oh, yeah.
We get anywhere near 1.9.
She's like, got the train.
That's good. We still have a month. We're not. A few weeks. 1 week. Yeah.
We're gonna see where we
It looked like it could have worked.
Yeah, that's what they said, you know,
We're reading for better.
I just want you to know what they operate as.
I was confident we would have this conversation, but I wanted to confirm. But I said, we're spending cash. We're have control of it. In fact, you know, we can avoid their $2 charges or Where is it?
Whatever it does,
we're buy back, like, said, copy that, copy that. It's.
Short was it?
so the banks have
It's the best of the
yeah,
Great.
but I think he makes that number. Now, even as we I say it's in the right place. And I'm in the system.
But that's exactly what
Assuming all of the expenditures
why, but. All right.
Hey, what's up? I was just gonna see. Yeah, hopefully we'll have that report anyway, so I'll wait till the next. Anything pops up, yeah.
I know, but you're texting. I know.
So,
Yeah, anything you say is get up against you.
I can't see after a certain amount of hours of working. I can't see after a certain amount of hours. I can't. I'm like looking at my. And I do have glasses.
Who's pushing back?
So when I drove from, where we were living on Maryland, south of Baltimore down to, Harmony.
Okay, enough said.
Years ago. We hit the Florida.
Enough said.
And that's the longest ride
And
ever.
at one point, we were like, hey, how long are you driving? I said, Mark, I can't see the line of driving.
It's terrible, it's just like you take 5 minutes to get it done. I went to get a prescription for the new vision prescription, and it came back the same as what I put. But my glasses aren't working, so I think it was wrong. I really do. I'm gonna have to go back and say, you know what, this is do it again.
Pushing back there, it's a good idea.
I have like 4 different.
I don't even know where to start about to say to have it justified.
They all have the same power soul, and it was a new girl, and my 2 daughters, who they read a needle, that I can't see.
Okay, no said.
That's
That's the
that
case.
means something is off.
I've heard that.
We're getting that.
One more, we'll like the best.
I know. Look, they didn't, Al, they didn't give up two. Larry, they didn't give us any extra. Well, look at what they got.
I'm gonna talk to a time, like, the next meeting, and I'll take a look at the bid, I'd like it's concise. Versus the actual report, the jumbo report. That's why. You ready?
I'm ready. 4 minutes.
4 minutes. I don't know. We'll make a phone call. He hasn't been out there.
Put it this way, he was leaving until he shook my hand.
He thought it was just a special year. I said, you know, council meeting.
These are the best.
Oh, yeah, just now. I said, where you going? He said, oh, okay, what's this? Oh, no. He was his birthday or something.
Touch my mind now. I get like, taken out, it's like,
Yeah, for a while.
I'm not gonna be on that camera, I'm like, no. Ryan.
Yeah, so Jack,
The rest of the clinic, Wednesday, another guest. Friday, we all pulled out, guests, and some other guests coming.
Did we get more or less?
I don't know if you're nearsighted or but like, I can figure out how much that's one on fire
Yes. I used to be able to read that, no problem. Any bottle, I'm like, you think that it's I don't know.
It was after
checkbook and put it in his specific account. He said goes into this.
I have to have it one of those big mega, I do, I'm not kidding, that's what I use. Light it up. The mega, like, that's like, so magnification, like,
I don't know what you stopped doing, but it's not working anymore. And with my incentivizer, I can see it better because so I'll be like, oh, you see me outside sitting, that's what I'm doing.
yeah, you know what?
It's probably good for you.
Yeah, here's not like,
I missed, I only read the first agenda. So they do honestly.
They learn by side. They learn by side. They don't have that, but they.
We're ready. I think it works that way.
Yeah,
I'd love to ask that. Yeah, we're gonna start question.
Please stand for pledge of allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I wish to announce that 48-hour notice as required under the Open Public Meetings Act was emailed to the Asbury Park Press, the Coast Star, and the New Coaster on December the 10th of 2020. That a copy has been placed on the bulletin board in the borough office, and that a copy has been filed with the borough clerk. Mr. Bennell?
Here.
Mr. Gubatose?
Here.
Mr. Sexsmith?
Here.
Mr. Weber, absent. Mayor Fox?
Here. Okay, welcome everybody to meeting 17 of 2021. Start on a kind of a down note that last Thursday, 11 Marines, 1 Navy foreman, and 1 soldier was killed while supporting a non-combatant evacuation in Kabul. The average age of these heroes was a little over 22 years old. I'd like to start the meeting with a moment of silence for these brave personnel and who were killed in Kabul, and also certainly pray for their families and the 2,448 military that were killed during the last 20 years in Afghanistan. Okay, on a little bit brighter, but not much brighter note, our Office of Emergency Management has a COVID-19 mask policy in effect. The guidance is recommending that if you're not vaccinated, to wear a mask and social distance. We ask that you conform to that requirement. We're trying to protect our fellow citizens and children from this Delta variant. I don't know the latest stats, but it seems like in Bradley Beach, we're getting about a little less than 1 case per day. And that's been pretty much the case for the last month. So it's just a tough situation. Hopefully we can work our way through it. Tonight we have 1 ordinance for introduction and 3 ordinances for adoption. All the adoption ordinances are for bond ordinances that will be detailed during the hearing and adoption process. There is 1 presentation tonight from the Bradley Beach Business and Community Alliance, and I'm going to turn it over to Paul Gavin, who is the chairperson of that important partnership.
Thank you so much for the opportunity to give you an update on the Bradley Beach Business and Community Alliance. As you may recall, and I'm going to go this way. We were founded and begun on January 1st of 2020. We're a 501c6, and our mission is to bring the community, our businesses, and the municipality together to strengthen our town. We seek to have a partnership that takes actions to improve our town for both our residents as well as our visitors. Our vision is that we will grow this year to 200 members, and that those 200 members will work together to identify ways that they can strengthen our town. So I thought I'd just give a quick update on our 6 goals and where we are and how we're doing on those. So the first of our goals is small business promotion. And we do that in a number of ways, social media, certainly our website, but we also recently produced a brochure which is out there with a QR code and a map of all our businesses to enable them to be promoted in different ways to the community. We are offering consultations to our businesses for both marketing as well as social media and graphics. So we've been trying in different ways to support small business promotion. The second of our goals is to support the businesses in their development. And we've done that in a number of ways. We have an ambassadors program, which is a group of volunteers who go out and meet with the businesses and offer their assistance. We are about to launch a program at Brookdale College, the Small Business Center, a customized course for our small businesses based on their needs. And we also have been working jointly with the borough to do things around Main Street improvements. We also produced the Bradley Beach Small Business Guide, everything you ever wanted to know about starting a business or running a business in Bradley Beach. And we've been working together on communications as well as signage. Our third goal is member engagement and communications, and we've had a number of member-only events. About 100 people have attended those events, and we do communicate through our newsletter. We also have had a number of town events. In January, we had our annual meeting, as well as some celebratory activities in the winter. We had the March food pickup. In the spring, we had the April Green Fair. We had a crafts fair and One Beach, One Read, which a number of you were there for. In summer, we had the Alliance Week and Celebration Saturday. And this fall coming up, we have our first ever dinner in the park on September 25th. I hope everybody will join us for a movie in the park. And also our December holiday fair on December 4th. So we've been active in terms of town events and seeking ways that we can bring the town together. Our member committees, we have 5 member committees, and they really work on a variety of things: organization, they work on business promotion, economic vitality, town design, and civic engagement. We are excited to launch a mentoring program this fall with the Bradley Beach Elementary School and the library, where we'll be matching up mentors who have volunteered in town with 5th to 8th graders. So that will be a brand new program this year, and we're really excited about that. And so the last goal is to recruit members and engage them. And at this very moment, we have 126 members, which is 60 businesses, which we're quite pleased with. We had a strong renewal of our businesses and new businesses. We have 6 nonprofits and 60 residents. So we're hoping to get to 200 by the end of the year. So anybody who would like to join, our little brochure is out there. And I just would end by just recognizing the other board members who serve with me on the board. Meredith DeMarco, also a resident, Micah Fuso, Tina Garientes, and Doug Jung. And then from our businesses, Simone Hazel from Stockroom, Anthony Pagano from Uva, Danny Patel from Country Farm, and Andres Zapata from Pachos and Wachos. So we have a 9-member board representing both our residents and our businesses. So I just wanted an opportunity. We're about a little over a year and a half young, but I just wanted an opportunity to share what we've been doing and what we want to do to try to strengthen the town. So with that, I'll say thank you again for the opportunity, and I didn't know if there were any questions or anything you wanted me to address.
Thanks, Paul. That was great, and it's been a great partnership. You all have done a great job under some adverse conditions given COVID and trying to get going. But there's a real positive buzz among business folks in town that they feel like they're being heard, and people are working with that. On the mentoring program, so it's 5th to 8th grade. Was there any consideration? I know the kids have gone beyond that to the high school level. Was there any consideration on high school kiddos or?
Well, we wanted to start where we
Okay.
could sort of do it right in Bradley Beach. So
Right.
that was why 5th to 8th grade. And I think we've talked about going out to high schools. Our students, as you know, go to many different high
All over the
schools.
place, yeah.
So we really wanted to start with where we could concentrate within the school. We've got amazing support from the school and also the library, which is our partner. The actual mentoring will take place at the library. There may be some virtual, but it was really about what we felt we could manage as a launch, and really wanted to address young people in town.
Okay. So if an 8th grader starts getting mentored, that would just be, they wouldn't go beyond?
They could develop a relationship, they
Yeah.
could go beyond, but
Yeah,
it's
okay.
really meant to be 5th to 8th
Okay.
grade.
All right, okay, great. No,
A question?
Sure.
Can we offer suggestions to your website that's on here?
Sure.
Okay, thank you.
Absolutely, yeah, absolutely.
Anybody else?
Great, thank you so much. I
Okay,
appreciate
thank you,
that
Paul.
for your
Thanks for-
leadership and everybody's service to
Yeah,
our town.
thanks for all the work. Okay, our 6th agenda item is approval of minutes. I'd like to make a motion to approve the minutes of our workshop meeting of 10 August. Do I have a second?
Second?
Mr. Vanel?
Yes.
Mr. Gubatose?
Yes.
Mr. Sexsmith?
Yes.
Mr. Weber, absent. Mayor Fox?
Yes. I also want to ask for approval of minutes for a regular council meeting 10 August. Do I have a second?
Second.
Mr. Vanel?
Yes.
Mr. Gubatose?
Yes.
Mr. Sexsmith?
Yes.
Mr. Weber, absent. Mayor Fox?
Yes. Okay, agenda item number 7 would be public comments or questions on the 8:31 agenda. 5-minute limit, single instance. And let's start. Any questions?
Thomas Cohen, 612 Third Avenue. I'd like to compliment the council on the follow-up of resolution number 2021-227, the Ocean Park Avenue and 4th Avenue ramps. That is huge. There's been a lot of people asking about that for a very long time, and if we could do 2 every year, that would be fantastic as long as the beach is successful. You know, but it's a wonderful thing. I did have a question about 2021-28. Actually, 2021-220, this mod for property assessment computer system. Is everybody using that in the county, or are we just one of the few that are utilizing that?
The whole state has to use it by regulation.
They all have to use the mod 4? Okay.
According to it's the division of taxation regulation, so
Okay.
all the assessors must use that program.
But that being said, not all towns will have to be part of the ADP system, is that correct? I mean, this is one way for them to establish value, but that doesn't mean they're part of the ADP system.
No, it's nothing to do with the
Okay,
ADP system.
okay.
It's just the computer program by which they track the property data record card.
Perfect, oh, okay. That
So
makes
whether
sense.
all counties use that, every town in the state uses it.
Great, okay.
So Monmouth County has their own, and obviously, as you are aware, their tax board is very active in progressive reforms. And so they offer it to all the towns, and not every county does that, but it's obviously cheaper for all the towns to use the same one.
Sure, no, it makes sense.
But that's totally separate than how they assess. It's just how it is, all the information is just contained there.
Okay, and then 2021-228, I was just wondering, this $37,000 number conflicts with the $25,000 number that you gave us at a council meeting when we were reviewing this improvement to 2nd and 3rd Avenue there.
Yeah, I think the first time around, we were doing a couple things, and she's not here, but I think we expanded the scope of it slightly, but a little bit more change, number 1, and number 2. I'm not sure that all of the internal work we were going to do, we are going to do, so that changed the amount.
So is this going to include striping and also landscaping?
It'll include landscaping, and I'm pretty sure it will include striping also. I'll follow up on that.
And also the balance of the park is sprinklered. I was hoping that we could have sprinklers there also.
There are, that's in there too.
Great.
I know that's in there.
Thanks very much.
Any other questions on the agenda? Okay, we will proceed to ordinances. As I said, we have 1 for introduction and 3 for adoption. Ordinance 2021-26 is an ordinance to amend Chapter 5, Section 22, Purchase Control, Article 5, Department of Finance to reflect the new thresholds and supplement the revised general ordinances of the Borough of Bradley Beach, County of Monmouth, State of New Jersey. Basically, this deals with getting the appropriate line of authority for purchases and also the amounts to make sure they require different actions above and below an amount. Is there any council comments on this? Okay, then we will close council comments on ordinance 2021-26 and move into our hearings and adoption.
We have a motion to introduce.
Oh, the motion to introduce, I'm sorry, make a motion to introduce 2021-26, thank you.
Second.
Mr. Vanel?
Yes.
Mr. Gubatose?
Yes.
Mr. Sexsmith?
Yes.
Mr. Weber, absent. Mayor Fox?
Yes. Okay, for adoption, we have 3 ordinances for hearing and adoption tonight. Bond ordinance 2021-23 is bond ordinance amending part bond ordinance 2021-02, adopted on February 11, 2020, providing for the acquisition of real estate for municipal purposes in order to increase the appropriation thereof by $750,000 for a total appropriation of $2,250, increase the authorized bonds and notes to be issued to finance a portion of the cost thereof by $712,500 for a total debt authorization of $2,137,500, and increase the allocation of the appropriation to cost permitted under NJSA 40A:2-20, authorized in and by the Borough of Bradley Beach in the County of Monmouth, New Jersey. We'll start with council comments.
I think, just confirming what we discussed at the last meeting, but again, for public record, while this references the aggregated 2.25, we're really talking about an incremental bonding of 950 or 750 plus 200. Is that the 950?
950.
We're talking about introducing a bond ordinance for 950,000. But I guess my question is the third whereas. The borough has determined that 200,000 authorized by the prior ordinance for purposes permitted is insufficient and desires to increase such allocation by 750. So so over a year ago, when we introduced a bond ordinance for 1.5 million, and I know Ms. Reich, you're in the audience, so you can probably help me on this.
Yeah.
I know we effectively spent about 1.4 million of that.
Yes.
Well, 1.3 for the church itself.
Correct.
And then another 100,000 or give or take after.
Right.
And I just want to make sure, for myself and for the public, we're all clear on the wording of this. The 200,000, is that the difference between the 1.3 we spent on the church
And the 1.5.
that we bought?
Correct.
Even
And then-
though we spent 100,000
Right.
in addition.
But it was, we've spent money that was, I'm gonna use the term that we use internally, unfunded, meaning not financed by debt.
Okay.
Doesn't mean that the money wasn't there, it means that we used surplus in the general capital fund to kind of float that money until we issue bonds for it, so, or notes for it.
Okay, so this introduction is for 950,000, effectively.
In additional debt.
Yes. Okay. Thank you.
Potentially, right?
Potentially.
Yeah.
Right.
We'll have, we're giving the
And-
authority
and-
to issue.
Giving the authority.
You're giving the authority, correct. Doesn't mean that we necessarily will issue that much debt.
A couple of weeks ago, we first talked about this, I think a few of our residents were concerned about the 2.25, not appreciating that 1.3 of that was.
The actual purchase of the church property.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. Any other points? If not, we'll close on council comments on ordinance 2021-23. I want to make a motion to open public comments on ordinance 2021-23 and last limit comments to 3 minutes if we could. Do I have a second? Sorry.
Mr. Benel?
Yes.
Mr. Gubatose?
Yes.
Mr. Sexsmith?
Yes.
Mr. Weber, absent. Mayor Fox?
Yes. Okay, if there's no public comments, we'll make a motion to close 2021-23 and move to adopt.
Mr. Benel?
Yes.
Mr. Gubatose?
Yes.
Mr. Sexsmith?
Yes.
Mr. Weber, absent. Mayor Fox?
Yes. Okay, bond ordinance 2021-24, it's a bond ordinance providing for improvements to Newark Avenue Phase 2, appropriating $250,000 thereof, and authorizing the issuance of $65,000 in bonds and notes to finance a portion of the cost thereof, authorized in and by the Borough of Bradley Beach in the County of Monmouth, New Jersey. Again, we'll start with council comments.
Again, I'll offer a comment only in clarification for the public, but we are talking about, in this particular ordinance, $250,000 of improvements to Newark Avenue, of which we expect to receive $185,000 in grant funding, the difference being $65,000 that we'll be borrowing.
Okay, if there's no other council comments, make a motion to open public comments on ordinance 2021-24 and we'll ask the limit
Mr. Vanel?
Yes.
Mr. Gubatose?
Yes.
Mr. Sexsmith?
Yes.
Mr. Weber absent, Mayor Fox?
Yes.
Sure, Thomas Cohen, 612 Third Avenue. This sounds really great on its face, Mayor, that we're getting this grant and Newark Avenue is getting done. That's great. Normally, this would be a 30-year improvement, and it would be a wonderful improvement. But our sewers are so old that before the 30-year lifespan, this is going to get ripped up. So I'd like to see if we could have a plan for which roads we're going to pave and not rip up again. And I've said this over and over, it just takes a plan. But the grant money's not free money. Taxpayers paid into that. And now we're paying to improve a road which we may not get the useful life out of. I'd really like us to really take a look at that. But thank you very much. Newark Avenue could use it, but it could use sewers too.
Okay, now make a motion to close 2021-24 and move to adopt.
Mr. Vanel?
Yes.
Mr. Gubatose?
Yes.
Mr. Sexsmith?
Yes.
Mr. Weber absent, Mayor Fox?
Yes. Okay, bond orders 2021-25, it's bond orders providing for various capital improvements and acquisitions appropriating $225,000 thereof and authorizing the issuance of 213,750 bonds and notes to finance a portion of the cost thereof, authorizing in and by Borough County Beach in the County of Monmouth, New Jersey. We'll start with council comments. Are there any? Yes. Councilman Tosi.
A few residents, when we introduced this ordinance, raised the question, and since then, a few have raised the question. So I want, Ms. Rice, I had another question for you. Some of the equipment that we're discussing bonding to purchase, at least is debatable, could be, expense-wise, could be allocated, some to the current fund, some to the State Beach Fund. We're not prohibited, are we, from
No.
allocating some of the actual expenses?
So when we go to actually issue the debt on this, you know, depending on what that number looks like, we could issue debt in the beach utility and the current fund or the sewer utility all at the same time.
I know the example given was the Kubota that would largely be used at the beach.
Right.
And that's just one example that came to mind. But-
Right.
So we'd have that opportunity, you would have that opportunity to determine where to allocate
Where,
the cost.
yes.
Thank you.
Okay. There's no other comments, I'll make a motion to open,
Julie.
you have to make a motion to open public comments on ordinance 2021-25.
Excuse us, we were, gentlemen, have a question.
Okay, question. Get the vote done first.
We have to vote.
Jack?
That's okay.
Yeah, we just have to vote on the, to open the hearing, okay?
Go ahead. Eric.
Jack Temple, 103 Fourth Avenue.
We have to vote.
Everybody get this? Have us vote.
Oh,
Okay, yes, Mr. Vanel?
Yes.
Mr. Gubatose?
Yes.
Mr. Sexsmith?
Yes.
Yes.
Mr. Weber absent, Mayor Fox?
Okay, Mr. Temple.
Now you go.
You're out.
Jack?
there was 4 or 5 bond ordinances tonight.
I'm sorry?
How many bond ordinances are there tonight? 3?
Yes.
Okay. Now, according to the information I have, NW Financial charges $7,500 per bond ordinance.
NW Financial isn't doing this.
Not,
This has nothing to do with NW Financial.
okay, was it, the information I have here in front of me says NW Financial charges $7,500 for each bond ordinance.
They could, but they're not our bond counsel.
No, but Cindy, isn't there some joint, I thought our financial advisors worked with bond counsel. I don't know what the dollar amount is, but
So they're not working with bond counsel on this issue.
okay.
So, should I elaborate or?
Well, no, just because that was my understanding, that they were involved to some degree. I didn't know what the fees would be.
These ordinances were handled strictly by our bond counsel, and NW Financial was not involved.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Any other questions? If there's no other questions,
I
make a
have a
motion.
question there.
Oh,
Thank you. You know, I just want to, Thomas Cohen, 612 Third Avenue, I just want to reiterate on Mr. Gintempo's comment, is that, you know, there really is no contract with this NW Financial, it's just based upon the resolution.
We're talking about an adoption.
No, I realize that,
But that has, this, NW Financial has nothing to do with this.
Well,
If you have a comment on NW Financial, that's fine, but you have to do that at the end of the meeting.
sure, I'll do that, thank you, sir.
Thank you. Okay, want to make a motion to close 2021-25 and move it down.
Second.
Mr. Bennett?
Yes.
Mr. Gubatose?
Yes.
Mr. Sexton?
Yes.
Mr. Weber absent, Mayor Fox?
Yes. Okay, agenda item number 9, we have 4 items. Employee memo, salary increase for special officer Amber Newborn to $15 per hour effective August 16, 2021. Employee memo for part-time new hires, a request from law enforcement against drugs, LEAD, to conduct their walk around on Saturday, October 2nd from 9 to 11, and a request from the Great American Volleyball Association to add additional dates to the clinic for Saturday, September 25th and Sunday, September 26th. I'd like to make a motion to move items C and D, the last 2 that I mentioned, to consent agenda. Do I have a second?
Second.
Mr. Bennett?
Yes.
Mr. Gubatose?
Yes.
Mr. Sexton?
Yes.
Mr. Weber absent, Mayor Fox?
Yes. Okay, consent agenda. There are 7 items on the consent agenda, including 2 that we just moved there. 2021-10, authorizing the borough engineer to prepare and submit the Monmouth County Open Space Grant for the Lake Terrace Improvement Project, which we met on at 6 o'clock tonight. The 2021-11, the bill list for August 31st, 2021. 2021-12, acknowledging Shade Tree Commission resignation. 2021-213, authorizing a refund of $750 to Jacqueline Wardell Decima for the gazebo rental fee. 2021-214, authorizing a refund for a street opening deposit in the amount of $500 to Walsh Builders. 2021-15, approving LEAD to conduct a race walk on October 2nd, 2021 from 9 to 11. And 2021-16, approving Great American Volleyball to add additional dates to the clinic for September. I'd like to make a motion to approve the consent agenda.
Without the last 2,
Including this too.
Oh, right, you did that, right,
Yeah,
sorry.
I moved them in.
Second.
Mr. Bennett?
Yes.
Mr. Gubatose?
Yes.
Mr. Sexton?
Yes.
Mr. Weber absent, Mayor Fox?
Yes. Okay, resolutions. We have an even dozen resolutions tonight. The first is 2021-217, appointing Ann Gubatose as Shade Tree Commission member. Shade Tree Commission member. I'd like to make a motion to approve 2021-217.
Second.
Mr. Bennett?
Yes.
Mr. Gubatose?
I will abstain.
Is there a relation?
Mr. Sexton?
Yes.
Mr. Weber absent, Mayor Fox?
Yes. 2021-218, acknowledging the library board resignation of Anthony DeMaio. Make a motion to approve 2021-218.
Second.
Mr. Bennett?
Yes.
Mr. Gubatose?
Yes.
Mr. Sexton?
Yes.
Mr. Weber absent, Mayor Fox?
Yes. 2021-219, acknowledging the library appointment of Michael Healy. I'd like to make a motion to approve 2021-219.
Second.
Mr. Bennett?
Yes.
Mr. Gubatose?
Yes.
Mr. Sexton?
Yes.
Mr. Weber absent, Mayor Fox?
Yes. 2021-220, authorizing a shared service agreement with the County of Monmouth to use MOD for property assessment computer system. Make a motion to approve 2021-220.
Second.
Mr. Bennett?
Yes.
Mr. Gubatose?
Yes.
Mr. Sexton?
Yes.
Mr. Weber absent, Mayor Fox?
Yes. 2021-221, authorizing member participation in Middlesex Cooperative Pricing System. I'd like to make a motion to approve 2021-221.
Second.
Mr. Bennett?
Yes.
Mr. Gubatose?
Yes.
Mr. Sexton?
Yes.
Mr. Weber absent, Mayor Fox?
Yes. 2021-222 is approving the council meeting dates for the remainder of 2021. I don't have it right in front of me, but it's just omitting, we're taking out one meeting around election. So I'll make a motion to approve 2021-222.
Second.
Mr. Bennett?
Yes.
Mr. Gubatose?
Yes.
Mr. Sexton?
Yes.
Mr. Weber? Absent, Mayor Fox?
Yes. 2021-223 is authorizing cancellation of 2020 outstanding checks. This has to do with a corrective action for our audit, which we'll go into more in the next meeting, but that's what it has to do with. So I will make a motion to approve 2021-223.
Second.
Mr. Benel?
Yes.
Mr. Gubatose?
Yes.
Mr. Sexton?
Yes.
Mr. Weber absent, Mayor Fox?
Yes. 2021-224 is approving a stipend increase in amount for deputy clerk for performing the additional duties of a public agency compliance officer, the PACO. Make a motion to approve 2021-224.
Second.
Mr. Benel?
Yes.
Mr. Gubatose?
Yes.
Mr. Sexton?
Yes.
Mr. Weber absent, Mayor Fox?
Yes. 2021-225 is amendment to Resolution 2021-109 for the United Engine and Fire Company's request for the original race application for August 24th race participation to receive free daily beach wristband in exchange for the race plan. Just a quick point on that, we just missed this in the last meeting. It was just a miss, so we're just setting the record straight. Make a motion to approve 2021-225.
Second.
Mr. Benel?
Yes.
Mr. Gubatose?
Yes.
Mr. Sexton?
Yes.
Mr. Weber absent, Mayor Fox?
Yes. Resolution 2021-226, a resolution in support of competitive electricity markets for the consumers affordable, reliable, and low emission electricity. Make a motion to approve 2021-226.
Second.
Mr. Benel?
Yes.
Mr. Gubatose?
Yes.
Mr. Sexton?
Yes.
Mr. Weber absent, Mayor Fox?
Yes. 2021-227, awarding the beach access ramps for Ocean Park and Fourth Avenue bid to Vulcan Construction Corporation in the amount of $128,840. Make a motion to approve.
Second.
Mr. Benel?
Yes.
Mr. Gubatose?
Yes.
Mr. Sexton?
Yes.
Mr. Weber absent, Mayor Fox?
Yes. 2021-228, awarding the Second and Third Avenue parking improvement project for Fernandez Construction Company in the amount of $37,394.20. Make a motion to approve. Do I have a second?
Second.
Mr. Benel?
Yes.
Mr. Gubatose?
Yes.
Mr. Sexton?
Yes.
Mr. Weber absent, Mayor Fox?
Yes. Moving on to agenda number item 12, there are no announcements, so I'll move to mayor and council comments. I'll start. Today is International Overdose Awareness Day, a day we remember those who have lost far too soon. More than 800,000 Americans have died of overdoses since the year 2000. As the opioid epidemic has ravaged the country, we take today to remember those friends and loved ones who succumbed to the disease, of addiction, and look to the future to help prevent those tragedies. Hope that you have seen the display we have had in Riley Park and a number of other towns in Monmouth County have had the same display of the purple flags. Bradley Beach is joining all of the Monmouth County coastal communities in hosting the Light Up the Shore in honor of the lives lost in fearless display of heroism by rescue teams and citizens who responded to the tragedy on September 11, 2001. Everyone is invited to participate by going to light up the beaches with their cell phones at 8:46 p.m. on Saturday, September 11, 2021, which is 12 hours after the first attack in 2001. We're going to ask people to do that for 3 minutes. You can check for more details on the website. I'll be personally inviting towns to our west to participate. The 7 or 8 towns to our direct west, and I think other shore towns are doing the same. Congratulations to our United Engine and Fire Company for a successful 5K run on August 21st. It's good to see that event back after that respite last year. We have received our 2020 audit results. They're generally good, but require a number of corrective actions, and we'll be building that into a plan. We have the preliminary plan together. We'll review that plan as a presentation at the next council meeting. With the approvals of resolutions 2021, 27, and 28, which is additional parking and the addition of the 2 handicap ramps, we're continuing to focus on improvements for our residents and visitors. These improvements, along with the replacement of the Boardwalk section of the promenade at the north end of town, will be completed this fall. We're in the process of planning a number of other infrastructure projects that we'll cover in the next meeting. I do want to specifically thank DPW for their achievements in the last few weeks, keeping the beaches operational through some storms. and making significant improvements to Fletcher Lake and Lake Terrace Drive. Our summer season's coming to a close. We've extended the lockers and beach showers through the end of the month, as many of you already know, primarily for our residents, but hopefully some visitors too. We are lifting the beach mats, though, as a contingency against September storms, because getting those off the beach is a pretty tedious process. We're very close to our revenue forecast on beach badges, and hopefully this weekend, which looks pretty good, will get us over the top on that. As I mentioned in our last meeting, we've got a lot of initiatives that are continuing to focus on our affordable housing plan compliance, Moraine Avenue church assessment, many personnel-related procedures and processes, getting our infrastructure projects on track, and council improvements on standing committees. We'll continue to focus on those. That is my report, and I'll turn it over to Councilman Bedell.
Okay. In an effort to continue to keep the public informed about the possibility of a unified land use board, I went through all the emails that we got at the last meeting and also reviewed the actual video of the meeting, and I generated a list of 11 items that were the common concerns. And I'm going to run through those real quick, and I have a 1 or 2 sentence response for each one. I'll try and keep this as quick as possible. Concern number 1 was checks and balances being diminished. Planning and zoning boards are not checks and balances for each other. Planning is legislative, zoning is enforcement. Bradley has a long history of zoning board undoing what our planning board puts in place, and a single land use board will create a continuity we've lacked. Many other municipalities I contacted have now confirmed this. Item 2, are other municipalities merged? 29 of the 53 municipalities in Monmouth County have one new land use board, some for decades. I reached out to all of them, several prior to the last meeting, and none reported any problems whatsoever. They were all very happy. Concern number 3, COA deliverable to the state. Our planning engineer confirmed the planning board has really no work ahead related to our COA plan, other than maybe 1 or 2 interim reviews and a final review for consistency. The plan is developed by the engineer and attorney. The zoning board has nothing to do with this process. The plan should have been adopted in 2016, but our planning board leadership has significantly failed the residents by brushing this under the carpet for 5 years and now compromising our position with the state. Concern number 4, cost savings benefit. 2021 budget allocations for planning and zoning were $18,000 and $23,000 respectively, with a spend of $8,900 for planning and $13,000 for zoning. This allocation to spend ratio is also typical for the last 5 years. Initial savings could be plus or minus the $23,000 allocated to the zoning board, and we would still have roughly $9,000 of surplus headroom with the planning budget. Concern number 5, board participation in strategic planning effort. Work of the strategic planning committees has not and does not require anything from either board and would not be affected by merging. If the strategic committees are interested in seeking advice and opinion of a land use board, merging boards does not preclude this from them for them inquiring. The boards are not magically going to disappear between now and the time we switch to a single land use board. Concern number 6, consolidation of power. Decisions of either board come from a 7-individual board with input from alternates and professionals, not the combined membership of both boards. A land use board would probably consist of 14 to 16 individuals. This is actually an increase in the decision-making body, not a decrease. There is no consolidation of power by changing to a single land use board. Again, many other municipalities have confirmed this as well. Concern number 7, rush to judgment. This initiative has been on the table and discussed at many meetings since 2017. The process has always been in front of the public in a completely transparent manner, and I even raised the issue as far back as my 2016 council campaign. Additionally, it has passed the test of time in hundreds of other small towns throughout the state. There is no rush to judgment here, only careful consideration and research for a half a decade. Concern number 8, reducing volunteer opportunity. As I said at the meeting in July, there are hundreds of volunteer opportunities in town. Fire company, first aid squad, Business Alliance, Sylvan and Fletcher Lake Commissions, Rec Center, the Women's Auxiliary, the Historical Museum, the 5K, and various other beach sweeps and events. The board's membership would be reduced from 22 to roughly 14 to 16. We only lose 6 to 8 volunteer opportunities. Concern number 10, overworking volunteers. Again, I have spoken to all towns with merged boards in Monmouth County, and there has been no issue with members getting burnt out from overwork. Many municipalities over 15,000 residents actually have 2 meetings per month per board. Bradley consistently cancels roughly half our board meetings for several years now because we are built out and there's just not that much application volume. Concern number 11, and this one was a little disturbing to me. The suggestion this council has some kind of political agenda and is supporting initiative to somehow stack new board members is basically impossible. The mayor appoints the new board members. The council may provide comment, but do not have final say in appointment. Members also will likely be selected from the current boards. I do, however, see how a resident could feel there is some kind of unethical political agenda given the history of our boards. We actually ended up in a lawsuit a few years back in which the county had to step in, reversing a variance application based on a conflict of interest and making an embarrassment of our process. This was something the board leadership should have headed off, but chose not to. Given all the positives and positive feedback from every town I spoke to with one land use board, it does seem there may be a couple folks, 3 or 4 maybe, with an ulterior motive for not merging our boards. While there may be some kind of underlying agenda driven by covert or misleading direction, or maybe campaign promises at play, I don't know. But one thing I do know for certain is that, beyond a shadow of a doubt, any clandestine operations related to instituting single land use board are absolutely not coming from any current council members or those supporting the merge. So, with all this, I sincerely hope I've helped the small group of individuals expressing concerns addressed here tonight see how absolutely no harm will come to Bradley Beach in any way from a single land use board. It will only streamline our process, save our taxpayers' dollars, while bringing us up to speed with the hundreds of other towns already benefiting from a single land use board. That's the end of my report.
Thank you, Councilor Bell. Councilor DeForest.
Okay, I just want to make sure the public is aware, Mr. Mayor, I know you just mentioned it, I'll mention it again, that our 2020 audit report has been delivered, has been shared with the council. I believe in the upcoming meetings, we will be having a formal presentation of that report. Mr. Mayor, I'm hopeful that we can have the auditor join us for that presentation. That would be great if that's possible. And there were no material problems found with our internal controls, which was really good to hear. However, there were 9 or 10, I think it was 9 recommendations that were very specific, and I know we're already in the process. We, the borough, led by the mayor and our BA, are already taking, our CFO, are taking actions to correct those already. So I cannot say how proud I am of the process that we all engineered to bring in the new auditor, and I think this auditor has really served us well. I've read through the report. I think it's a very thorough report. I had over 30 questions in the 2019 report, and I have a handful of miscellaneous questions for this report. So to me, it's night and day difference in terms of the quality that was delivered this year, and I look forward to sharing that report with the public. I just wanted to thank the DPW. I know Biagio's not here, but again, for the work on Fletcher Lake. I thought that was wonderful. They knocked themselves out at some ridiculously hot, humid days to get a lot of that work done. So again, kudos to them. And then my final comment is really one, I'm going to just set myself up to be the intermediary here between the magnitudes of people posting on social media, hoping that someone on the council will listen or read this stuff. The broader council is not able to take any formal action directing department heads. The mayor, certainly, sometimes our VA, are typically the chief executive and our VA are typically managing our operations. But in the world of social media, a lot of our residents are complaining about lack of enforcement, at least they perceive to be a lack of enforcement of managing bicycling on the boardwalk after 10 a.m. So I mention that just so our police are aware, that our mayor's aware, that at least that is a perception, and perhaps there's more that internally we can do to determine whether or not that really is a problem, or if it's in fact just the perception of some members of the public.
Yeah, and I passed that along to the chief today, so hopefully we'll see some action.
Thank you. And that's the end of my comments.
Okay, thank you, Councilman Tosa. Councilman Sexton.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. For the police department report, the police are investigating numerous break-ins overnight of unlocked vehicles. I know I've said it a whole bunch of times, but when you park your vehicle at night, please make sure you lock the doors, take the valuables out, get them locked in the trunk, something. These are not people that are breaking windows and jimmying locks and forcing doors open. They're just walking down the sidewalk, they test the door, they find when it's unlocked, they rifle through it real fast, and they move on to the next car. It's a completely preventable crime just by locking our car doors. So I urge everyone, please do that. Going on to the first aid report, for the operational period ending August 31st, the squad responded to 32 day calls, 14 night calls, for a total of 46. There were 34 requests for medical, 11 for fire, 1 answers call to the Ocean Grove. There were no mutual aid requests, there were no COVID-19 cases. The squad conducted 1 in-house training session for the safety and education of members on safe driving, and they also provided medical support for the 24th Bradley Beach 5K run. The squad fulfilled 100% of their assignments for the period. For the fire department, for the operational period ending August 31st, the department responded to 11 requests for the department. They conducted 2 in-house training sessions for the safety and education of firefighters, which included safe driving and fire spread and suppression. The department provided logistical support for the 24th Bradley Beach 5K run and food distribution at the Ascension Church. And again, the department fulfilled 100% of their assignments for this period. As always, the department is looking for volunteers for both fire and first aid. They offer free training for qualified individuals. Anyone wishing to volunteer for the fire department or first aid squad, applications can be found on the borough website. I just want to touch on the beach briefly and on some of the mayor's comments. As he said, and as you recall, we approved the change to the ordinance allowing the beach lockers to remain on the beach until the last Sunday in September. That's assuming that weather stays good. If the weather goes south and we have an impending storm, the OEM very well may order that the beach lockers be removed, in which case in order to support DPW in that effort, we need to get our belongings out of lockers as quickly as possible. So I would urge people to minimize what they're keeping in their lockers at this point in time. If you're a non-resident owner and you have a locker, consider emptying out your locker early to support this effort, or again, minimize what you have in there, or perhaps contact a neighbor that if there's a problem that they can come and empty your locker for you. The mayor did say the Moby maps are going to be removed after Labor Day. It really is a very labor-intensive operation. I know there's a lot of people that depend on that for access, but there's no way that the DPW can quickly remove those mats in the event of an oncoming storm, especially if you look at the complete lack of warning that Louisiana had for this recent hurricane over the weekend. One positive note, though, is DPW is going to be leaving the showers in operation while the beach lockers are on the beach, so we will at least be able to continue to do that. That's the end of my report, Mr. Mayor.
Okay, thank you, Councilman Sexton. We'll now move to either emails or public comments. 5-minute limit, single instance. I don't know if, I guess we can start with the public comments and then the people here and then go to emails. What's the best, is that better?
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay. So any public comments?
612 Third Avenue. Yeah, on that N&W financial, the resolution that was approved January 1st for N&W is not really that specific as to which items. So, and also their proposal that they sent in isn't really specific as to items. So based on the comment performance rights, I was wondering, were they involved in 2021-23?
No.
So that was the one for the church. They weren't involved in that one?
Not in the preparation of the bond ordinance.
Okay, so that's my disconnect, is like, how do we determine, it says they get $7,500 for every bond or note, but it's not specific as to which of the bonds or notes they're working on. So that's why I believe Mr. Giantempo was questioning it, as I would, like, when does it apply and when does it not apply, is basically the question.
I think that would be up to the governing body as to when they wanted to seek the advice of a financial advisor. A normal bond ordinance in conjunction with myself and bond counsel is the normal process.
Sure.
It's not, necessarily normal to involve a financial advisor unless you have, a bigger project. I know that, when you're talking about the church and the big scope of it, then you might want to bring them into it. But as far as, this additional money, they were not involved.
They were not, okay, just so we could have a trigger in the public to know when they are involved and when they're not, besides checking the bills list after the fact. That's
Right.
kind of where we have to go. I did have a couple other questions. So Councilman Gubitosi, did you abstain on that vote on the resolution just because I was here?
Yes, because it's afraid to tell my wife.
Okay. Thank you. I'm very happy to hear that the audit's completed. Now, to my calculations, this audit is 16 months earlier than the 2019 audit. Thank you very much for getting the information to the public, and I really look forward to this meeting. I mean, that was really a horrible 16 months waiting for, the 2019 audit, almost 320 days or 30 days into 2020. So I do look forward to whatever those items are. In terms of the beach revenue, Mayor, we've been speaking in kind of like code. It's been like, it's better than that year, it's better than this year, but it's now going to be September 1st tomorrow, and we haven't had a solid number delivered to the public.
Yeah, we did.
When?
Last meeting.
I was here last week.
Quoted the exact number last meeting.
The exact number as to where we are.
I did. Yes,
Okay.
Mr. Deskins, did I not?
I don't recall.
Okay.
You thanked me for quoting that number.
Thank you for reporting on it. You asked me.
The number as of yesterday was $18,836,000, so we're $64,000, $65,000 short of our goal, which means we need about 64 people on each beach daily between now and Labor Day.
So just an update to that, at
Okay, great.
3:51 PM this afternoon, I ran the report, and it's $1,848,465.60. We're short by $51,534, so a little bit better than the mayor's numbers.
That's excellent.
There's no change?
40 cents.
Okay.
It's excellent. That's really good news. And I do look forward to those 9 recommendations that are in the report. When will it be available to the public, that audit report?
Our next council meeting, I'm going to do a presentation on the corrective action plan. Next week.
So will it be on the site before the meeting for the public to look at?
Yep.
Okay, so we can get it from the website?
We're working through that right now.
Okay, so we can read the whole document and do our own breakdown?
Well, we're not having the whole document on the website. What we typically do with the whole document is.
So it eventually will be
Eventually, it's a
posted.
PDF, right?
Correct.
Right.
But the corrective action plan is 3 or 4 pages, so that'll be on the website.
But I mean, there may be, we'd like to read it ourselves if we could. I mean, if it can be put up as a PDF, we can just.
Yeah, I'm not sure with the timing, but I'll defer to
That's the
Sandy.
resolution, right?
Yeah.
Huh?
Okay, so TJ, what will happen is, since there's a council meeting next Tuesday,
Sure.
that Friday when I post all the documents, there will be a corrective action plan resolution with the recommendations and the document, everything will be attached to the resolution.
So the document will be attached. Great, that's all I need to know. Thank you very much.
Whoa, wait, I'm not sure.
Not the
I'm not sure that's the
audit,
question you
just
asked.
the recommendations.
I want to
Yeah.
read the numbers.
Okay, no, not the whole audit, the big book, but the recommendations and the steps that we're taking to correct.
And then the audit will go up on the website.
After that,
After that.
right,
Okay.
right.
Okay.
It has to.
So then we can ask questions at the next meeting.
Absolutely.
Thank you very much.
Yes.
Rich Despin, 600 3rd Avenue. With regards to the reporting of the beach numbers, Mr. Mayor, I am very impressed in running by those numbers tonight. Whatever you did come up with in the past, you made up for it. We moved in 2013, 2012. We did a lot of research on places we were looking, and you were all the way from Bayhead we looked to Interlaken. We chose Bradley Beach. Number one, we love the park that we're sitting, our house sits on. I love the diversity of the town. And in my research, I came across a very interesting photograph. It was a sign on the store that said no smoking, no vomiting.
That would be the Army Navy Star.
Still there.
So I looked around and found some other references to it also online. It didn't reflect very well to me on Bradley Beach, having somebody putting up that kind of a sign. It's still there. I think that if people hear from the Business Alliance, perhaps maybe they should have some discussion on that. And if the business owner is having a problem there, to try to resolve it in some other way, I think would be a good idea.
Yeah, that's a reasonable request, yeah.
And I forgot the last name. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Julie Untitled, 605 Newark Avenue. I just wanted to bring up just about communications because I just foresee this as just being a real problem. And Kim, maybe it's something for you where you said about the lockers, that if there's a storm or something, please let's get out some kind of communication plan, roll out right now because.
So one thing we do have, the nice thing about the lockers is we have every person's email in the locker. So that's one of the reasons we said we could extend because we can get to people right away.
Yeah, because I would also put it out in the newspaper right now and just on the social media sites. My recommendation is block comments. Just put it out as an announcement because people are absolutely rude and obnoxious. You just want to give people a heads up, and you don't need their opinions. And also, and maybe start. I don't know if we have a communication plan that we're really going to start thinking about. Bikes and enforcement and everything. Happy to volunteer. But I think that is, just something that we really need, because I know the bike posting that went on, and someone, just wanted to know something, and it got very contentious and uncalled for at times. I think on there when someone had very good intentions and just wanting to know. But I think if we can, we don't need the finger point. I personally can't stand that myself. And but if we more proactive in that respect, I think then that might eliminate that. But I definitely think we have to get better with getting out more communications. And I know it's not you, Kim. It's just something that the town's been trying to work with for a long time. Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Rick Bartolome, 116 Newark. Just a couple of clarification. Now, the locker's going to be the last weekend in September. What about beach badges? Is that the same applied to the end of the month? Just through Labor Day?
Sure.
Okay. Now, what about bicycles on the boardwalk?
Bicycles on the boardwalk. I think that sticks to the.
It's whatever day it's in the ordinance.
I don't know if the ordinance says, but.
Okay. I was just trying to clarify.
Well, but I think the ordinance is year round. You can't ride a bike on the boardwalk.
I don't think so.
Maybe, no, I'm wrong about that. I'm wrong about that.
It's year round, but we put the signs up in the
Yeah.
summer.
It ends, I don't know exactly what day it is, but it's the 15th.
It's like aligned with the dollars.
It's changed recently, but it was either,
Yeah, no,
it was either September 15th or now it's October 1st, but at one point,
when the summer's over, yes, you can have bicycles
Yeah.
24 hours a day.
Yeah, I was just trying to understand whether it was the 15th or October 1st,
Yeah.
that's why I wasn't sure.
We should post something, I'll post something on the
That'd
website.
be a good item to post, that's a good point. Very
Thank
good.
you.
Thanks.
Jack Jim Temple, 103 Fourth Avenue. A couple of things. First of all, I love the idea of the ramp on both ends. That was good. I don't remember it being introduced before, but I'm happy that the ramps will be there. Regarding resolution 2021-22, be it resolved, the mayor and council hereby authorize the mayor to enter an agreement with NW Financial Group, independent registered municipal advisor, for continuing disclosure and financial services in the amount of $7,500 per bond, $7,500 minimum per note, $225 hour for the year 2021. Now, has NW Financial been received any money from the township regarding the notes or bonds?
No.
Well, you would know because you're the one that's going to make the decision on it, according to this.
Yes, and I'm saying that no, they haven't received any, they have not been involved in any of our bonding.
Okay? Now, there is a organization called Friends of the Bradley Beach Community Center, which I'm very much involved in. We're supporting the restoration and the use of that Lorraine Avenue Church as a community center. I think some people are under the impression that there's some kind of denomination associated because it's connoted as a Methodist church. That has absolutely nothing to do with a community center. That is a historic, cultural reference, and it's a very necessary cultural reference because that church is the linchpin from Asbury Park, Bradley Beach, Ocean Grove, Neptune Township, and a little bit of Avon. So, I think people, I've noticed a comment or two in the paper or in social media that they're concerned that it might be some kind of religious upper. No way.
No, there's no
There's no
denomination.
way. Yes.
I have not heard that of late, but maybe on social media it's there. I don't follow social media.
I just want to dispel that situation. The other thing is, back to NW. NW was the only bidder for financial services. The only one. The RFP was 20 pages long. Their response was 33 pages long. One bidder, 2 weeks. It went out on December the 2nd or the 3rd, and it had to be back by December 17th. The only bidder was NW Financial. No other bidders. And I find it really odd. I mean, this is the request for proposal is 20 pages long from Bradley Beach. I don't know who drew it up. Maybe Mr. Brown drew it up.
Mr. Brown drew it up, and actually, I thought he did a pretty good job in the context of we RFP'd every outside position that we had. We certainly can't control if somebody does or does not raise their hand and say we want to bid on this particular position. And you're actually more. I don't recall, so I'm going to take your word, certainly, Mr. Gentempo, that we had only one bidder. I wasn't aware that we had any more.
I have to double check on that. I believe, Jack, there were two, and the second one never gave us their information. So Northwest was the only one standing.
I think when you got back to me, excuse me, you said that you didn't have to retain any of the bidders. They're all gone.
Right.
Right? So we don't know if there was another bidder or not.
But I did keep a sheet of all the bidders for each position, so I had an Excel spreadsheet, so.
And the other thing, 20 pages of proposal, they give them 2 weeks. 2 weeks. Takes you 2 weeks to read the damn proposal.
Well, I can tell you that it's a whole, I only got involved in it for the first time last December, and it's a flurry of activity. It's setting out RFPs, all these groups are waiting for those RFPs to go out and bid. So it's a big activity in December. And Sandy, you wanted to add something?
Mm-hmm. I just wanted to add that of those 20 pages in any RFP, most of the pages in the RFP are actually documents that are required by the state of New Jersey.
Yes,
So you'll
yes.
see them in
They're
every
also the same for every bid. The
Yeah.
companies that bid on this stuff, I do it all the time. It takes 10 minutes to read 20 pages because you already know what it says.
That's the one, I'm not looking at it that way.
You know.
That's a real proposal, and it could be a real lucrative proposal for somebody. I'm not looking at it as a 1, 2, 3 deal. You need to spend some time, you've got to furnish names.
Yeah.
You
Those
got to
are all
furnish
prepackaged.
stock ownership.
Yep.
You know, there's a lot that goes into it.
Those are all pre-filled.
It's a boilerplate.
The bids that I do, Jack, sometimes are 300 pages.
Yeah.
Just the front end bid package.
Look, I'm with you. I'm just saying, to me, it's unusual. This could be a lucrative contract. This could be. If you go by what their numbers are right here, it could be a nice contract for somebody. One bidder. I don't know. Okay, thank you.
Yes, Mr. Shuck. Chairman Shuck.
William Shook, 110 Fifth Avenue, Bradley Beach. I have a question. Did I hear Councilman Bunnell's report correctly? Did he say 53 municipalities?
In Monmouth County.
How come last time you said 47 municipalities?
Because some of them hadn't responded to me.
Yeah, well, still, you should have said there's 53 municipalities. I mean, we're talking numbers, so you gotta give out the correct numbers, like I keep asking. But anyway,
You can do it
now you were
yourself.
saying that, where did you come up with all these members for a board? 14, 16 members or 16, 18 members?
I have
The board is
emails,
only,
Bill,
there's
from
only X amount of
about
members, and that's gonna
20
be 12 or 13
municipalities, and I'm
members.
gonna have emails from all of them, and they've given me that information. I'm not just.
There's only 12 or 13 members on a board. So I don't know where you're coming up with 16 or 18.
Some are
Am
16,
I
not many,
correct
some
or am
are.
I wrong? Mr. Gannon, I don't have the municipal land use law. Would you happen to know it, or you don't know that one?
How many members are on a merged board?
Yeah.
I mean, there's none that serve, but I don't know, you could have a number of alternates.
You could be right, you could have 3 or 4
I don't know off the
alternates.
top of my head what a
Yeah.
merged board, how many alternates there are, yeah, additional alternates because it's merged or not, I don't know off the top of my head.
If I'm not mistaken, I believe you're looking at 13 members.
I don't know.
I'm just saying, so I don't know where you're coming up with your 16 or whatever number.
Because I've
you're
talked to the
before.
board secretaries.
Now, the other thing I did do also,
Municipalities.
like you, I call other towns.
Mhm.
And I'm being told that a lot of towns, they merged the boards because they had the lack of participation from members. Okay?
Only one
So
I found was
I don't know
Deal.
where you're coming up with some of your stuff, but I'm gonna have to disagree with a lot of it. And I'm gonna do more research. This way here, next time you come up with your report, I will have my report.
I'll tell you what, Bill.
Okay?
I'll give
Thank you very
I'll give
much.
you the emails when I get them all in. You can call these people yourself.
Emails from who? The residents of Bradley?
I have an email from about 20 boards so far, and I probably will have all 29 by the end of the week. Most of them are board secretaries.
Let the secretary.
I told her 2 weeks ago I was gonna do it.
I'll over it from her. Thank you.
I told her I would give her all my information already.
Thank you, Mr. Shuck. Any other comments? Okay. Are there any email comments?
No, there's not.
We're on vacation. Okay. We move to executive session, which I don't think you have an executive session
Not
tonight.
today.
Unless anybody would like to have one.
Not today.
So I would make a motion for adjournment.
All in favor?
Aye.
Yeah, I wanna make a copy of your report though, you're welcome. Are you gonna email it to me, Frank?
Yeah, I'm gonna get you one PDF, everything. I'll give you a call.
Okay, but no, what you just read from your mayor and council report, I wanna incorporate that in the
Yeah, yeah, that'll go into it.
Okay,
I'll get it, hopefully.
just make that separate from your.
Okay, okay.
Okay, yeah, no, because I can't,
You do enough copying and.
you know, yeah, but it's easier for me to do it.
All right. Yeah, good, how are you doing? Yeah, it's in Word file. Good meeting. I'm just saying, no, I'm not in my file. Let me walk you through. There's more to that. There's a little bit more. We got it. No, not yet. Because we had a meeting, the mayor is closer to it.
Yes, so you don't. Good.
Yeah, I feel like the good executive improvements we're getting going to be planned to be made on Newark Avenue.
I used to work for our company.
Say that one more
He's
time.
working to
When
deal
will the
with.
improvements be made on Newark Avenue?
Oh,
Like,
well,
what
gotcha.
improvements?
So, what we're working on, so this is a two-phase project, so 100 and 200 blocks. We repaved it, and we put the limited parking. It caused a little bit of controversy because it's very tight parking in the first 2 blocks of Newark Avenue.
I know.
This fall,
I know, I was informed.
we're going to pave all the way up to Main Street on Newark Avenue, so repave. Newark Avenue is one of the most narrow, and it's a one-way street, so it really needs to get cleaned up. So we're going to repave, number one, and number two, we also are going to do delineated parking, not space by space, because the